I don't think people realize how distracted they've become anymore. Not because they can't focus, but because distraction stopped feeling unusual. It became the background noise of everyday life. Most people wake up and touch their phone before their own thoughts even fully load in, before the room feels real, before their brain catches up to the fact that another day started. Notifications, videos, messages, music, something playing in the background immediately. Silence barely gets a chance to exist now. And after enough years of living like that, the brain starts treating stimulation like oxygen. You can feel it in small moments, like opening one app while another video is still playing, or checking your phone during a movie you were genuinely interested in, or pausing a video halfway through because suddenly your brain needs a different kind of entertainment. Not because the first thing was boring, just because your attention moves faster than your ability to stay with something. And honestly, I think a lot of people confuse distraction with comfort now, because distraction feels easier than sitting still long enough to notice how mentally exhausted you actually are. Modern life gives people endless ways to avoid themselves. There's always something to consume, something to react to, something to scroll through, something to check. Even boredom barely exists anymore. The second a moment feels slow, people immediately reach for stimulation like a reflex. Waiting in line used to mean standing there thinking about random things. Now it means pulling out a phone before the brain even realizes there's empty space. And the strange part is that people aren't even enjoying most of what they consume. A lot of scrolling doesn't feel good. It just prevents silence. That's why people can spend 3 hours online and barely remember what they watched afterward. Nothing actually landed emotionally. The brain just kept moving because stopping felt uncomfortable. And I think that's what makes modern distraction different from older forms of entertainment. It's not immersive anymore. It's fragmented. People rarely sit with one thing long enough to fully enter it mentally. Even music changed because of this. Songs get shorter. Intros disappear faster. Videos start with immediate stimulation because creators know attention is fragile now. Everybody is fighting for seconds, not minutes. Seconds. You can even feel it in conversations. People interrupt each other more now, not always out of rudeness. Sometimes it feels like their brain physically struggles to wait. Like silence inside a conversation creates anxiety. There always has to be movement, input, noise. And social media made this even worse because it trained people to expect emotional shifts constantly. A sad video, then a funny meme, then bad news, then relationship drama, then a motivational clip, then somebody dancing, then somebody crying. The human brain was never designed to process that many emotional transitions in such a short amount of time. People are emotionally exhausted from switching mental states all day without realizing it. And after enough time, your baseline starts changing. Normal life begins feeling too quiet, too slow, too empty. That's why some people can't even watch a 10-minute video anymore without checking comments halfway through or opening another app while it plays in the background. Their brain isn't used to one stream of attention anymore. It needs layers of stimulation stacked on top of each other. Gameplay while listening to podcasts, music while scrolling, a show playing while texting, eating while watching videos, sleeping with noise in the background. The brain almost never gets a clean moment anymore. And what's strange is that people often call this relaxing, but a lot of modern relaxation isn't actually rest. It's distraction without pressure. There's a difference. Real rest usually feels slower, quieter, less stimulating. But many people became so overstimulated that actual rest almost feels emotionally uncomfortable now. Their mind immediately starts searching for input because stillness feels unfamiliar. Sometimes people think they're anxious when really their brain just forgot how to exist without constant engagement. And companies understand this better than most people do. Entire platforms are designed around preventing disengagement. Infinite scrolling was one of the biggest psychological shifts modern technology introduced. There's no natural stopping point anymore. Older media had endings. A movie ended. A TV episode ended. A magazine ended. Now content flows endlessly. There's always another clip waiting before the current one even finishes. And the scary part is how normal this became. People joke about having terrible attention spans now like it's just a personality trait. I can't focus. My brain is fried. I need Subway Surfers gameplay under every video. Everybody laughs because everybody relates to it. But underneath the jokes is something real. People are struggling to hold their attention on their own lives. And attention is deeply connected to emotion. What you consistently pay attention to slowly shapes your inner world. If your attention gets fragmented enough, your emotional life starts feeling fragmented too. That's why some people feel strangely disconnected all the time now. Not necessarily depressed, not necessarily sad, just mentally scattered, like their thoughts never fully settle anywhere long enough to become clear. Even memories feel different now. A lot of experiences barely finish processing before the next thing arrives. People document moments before they emotionally experience them. You can see it during concerts, dinners, vacations, birthdays. Sometimes it feels like people are trying to capture proof they existed inside the moment instead of actually entering it fully. And honestly, it makes sense why this happened. Modern life rewards divided attention. Being constantly available became normal. Answer quickly. Reply fast. Keep up. Stay updated. Know the trends. Watch everything. React immediately. People carry entire social environments in their pocket now. Their brain never fully leaves the outside world anymore. Years ago, going home meant disappearing for a while. Now people remain connected to everybody all the time. And humans are bad at understanding how unnatural that actually is. Even emotionally, there's barely any recovery time anymore. A stressful conversation follows people into bed through notifications. Work emails arrive during dinner. Arguments continue through text for hours. Bad news reaches people instantly from every corner of the planet. The mind never fully closes its doors. And because distraction is everywhere, people rarely sit long enough to notice how overwhelmed they've become. That's probably why so many people say they feel tired even after doing nothing all day. Mental energy gets consumed by constant micro-engagement, tiny decisions, tiny emotional reactions, tiny interruptions, tiny dopamine hits. Over and over, the brain stays active the entire day without entering deeper focus or deeper rest. And eventually, people start craving intensity just to feel mentally awake. That's another weird thing about constant distraction. It slowly lowers sensitivity. Simple things stop feeling stimulating enough. A quiet walk feels boring. Reading feels difficult. Long conversations feel draining. People start needing faster entertainment, stronger reactions, more novelty. Not because they're shallow, because their brain adapted to speed. And adaptation happens quietly. That's the dangerous part. Nobody wakes up one morning suddenly unable to focus. It happens gradually. One shortened attention span at a time. One extra notification at a time. One more hour scrolling before sleep. One more moment avoiding silence. Until eventually the mind feels restless by default. And honestly, I think a lot of people miss their old attention without realizing it. Not just attention in the productivity sense. Attention in the emotional sense. The ability to fully sink into things. To feel connected to music again. To watch a movie without multitasking. To spend time with friends without half-reading notifications. To think one thought all the way through. That kind of focus used to feel normal. Now it almost feels luxurious. And maybe that's why so many people feel detached from their own lives lately. Because distraction doesn't always feel chaotic on the surface. Sometimes it feels numb, like existing beside your own experiences instead of fully inside them. Days blur together faster when your attention is constantly fragmented. Weeks disappear strangely quickly when your brain spends most of its time switching contexts every few seconds. And eventually people stop noticing how little mental stillness they actually experience, because everybody around them lives the same way. That's what makes this hard to see clearly. Constant distraction stopped looking unhealthy because it became culturally normal. It became the default atmosphere people live inside. Restaurants full of phones on tables. Friends checking notifications mid-conversation. People watching videos while another video loads underneath. Entire evenings disappearing into content nobody will remember tomorrow. And none of it feels dramatic while it's happening. That's the strange part. Modern distraction rarely feels intense enough to alarm people. It just quietly fills every empty space until empty space barely exists anymore. And after a while, people forget what their mind sounded like before all the noise got there. Not because they chose to lose it, Not because something huge happened. It just slowly became easier to stay distracted than to be fully present. And eventually that stopped feeling strange at all.